When Dean Hollier won the first race around the Cemetery Circuit back in 1951 on his Triumph Grand Prix machine, he couldn't have known that 60 plus years later we'd still be here racing. For a lot of New Zealand motorcycle enthusiasts, Christmas isn't complete without a trip to the famous river city of Wanganui. There's no doubt about it, the best New Zealand riders were here, but there's also no doubt about that the star of the show was Guy Martin. Not only for his exploits on the TT course in the Isle of Man, but also for his BBC One show, The Boat That Guy Built. We took time to catch up with this superstar. Your original thoughts when you first saw Wanganui, probably 8 years ago. I mean, you kind of knew what you're up against this time, but it hasn't changed in 60 years.
No. It's the same as some of the stuff in Ireland. Yeah, street racing. It's just, more manual covers. There's a crowd, how well it's supported, and it's on Boxing Day, which makes it even better. Similar to the stuff we do home, similar.
But I guess it's not as fast overall as like Ulster Grand Prix or something like that?
No. As you know, like the Ulster Grand Prix we're lapping now, that'd be 132 mile an hour we're doing that. So I don't know what's that in K's. It's fast, isn't it? It's fast. But then we go and race at the Cookstown, which is a national road racing island, and it's every bit as tight as this. I knew from being here in 2005 how fast everyone was, so I'd know, it's not a shock. Everyone's quick, But then, if they came and raced in my backyard, it's horses for courses, isn't it? Hey, and I just think, I feel dead safe racing with everyone. I want to be a bit further up, so hopefully I'll get up a bit further up. But the standard is mega. He's mega.
So the first superbike race of the morning here at Wanganui, 2013, the last motor racing event on the calendar for the motorcycles. A man on the inside as you look at it, bike number 5, this is Nick Cole. He set the qualifying standard and he gets away to a good start, but driving down the inside of him, number 1, that's Dennis Charlotte, but it'll be Sloane Chopper Frost on the Fujitsu Red Baron Suzuki that leads them as they go down the short chute and out onto Taupo Key for the first of 6 times. Suzuki in the front, Cole in second place. Then it looks like Scott Moyer has moved up into third place. That's him, bike number 87 on another Suzuki. Just in behind him, Dennis Charlotte. You're on board here with Charlotte as they work their way through the S's and down past Suzuki. And Charlotte's gone down on the first lap of the first race for the Superbikes. He was the points leader going in the Suzuki Series, and he's thrown it all away. And this is to the benefit of this man, number 5, Nick Cole on the Kawasaki. He leads it, Dennis Charlotte scrambling back to his bike. The good news is he's okay, but look at that Suzuki. I don't think he'll be continuing. Haven't seen a red flag yet. It may play into the hands of Dennis Charlotte. The racing continues. Cole leads it, Frost in second place. Then it's Scott Moyer from Taupo. So Kawasaki leading 2 Suzukis. Remember, in the off-season, Sloane Chopper Frost switched from the BMW to the Suzuki New Zealand GSXR 1000. That's him, bike number 4. That's the ex-Andrew Stroud Superbike. This is Dennis Charlotte. He is going again as the leaders come round, so he's thrown away his chances of a win in the Superbikes in the Suzuki Series. On board here with Nick Cole, the race leader, as he passes the stricken Dennis Charlotte up into the Robert Holden turn, down the short chute, and then up into the Higher Master corner, heading up towards the overbridge here. This 1 mile in the old language, 1.59 kilometres of testing circuit here at Wanganui, and already the gap's starting to open out. Scott Moyer just drifting off the pacer here. This is Hayden Fitzgerald. Right in behind him is number 11, the veteran Tony Rees, and there is the superstar. This is the man that everyone's come to see. This is Guy Martin on number G on the Suzuki New Zealand GSXR 1000. Hayden Fitzgerald will be riding 3 classes today, so he'll be very tired by the end of the day. He's riding in the Super Lights, he's riding in the Superbikes, and he's also riding in the Classic Singles. The man from New Plymouth. Oh, and he's overshot as they come into Suzuki, as they go across the railway line, so it's gone wrong for Fitzgerald as well. So that means that the next target for Guy Martin will be Tony Rees on the Honda. This is the race leader, though. This is Nick Cole. He was just a couple of points off the lead in the series in the Superbikes after Manfield, and now with Dennis Charlotte gone, he is the champion-elect if he can keep it on 2 wheels. Second place, Sloane Chopper Frost. He couldn't keep the Suzuki on 2 wheels at Manfield, and the crash cost him in the points. And then it's Scott Moyer. Moyer could be the fly in the ointment here. Very, very fast around Wanganui on his little F3 bike, and very fast on this Suzuki as well. So Suzuki's running second and third. It's the Kawasaki ZX-10 of Nick Cole out in the front. This is David Hall, bike number 28 from Te Awamutu. Right in behind him, past Desert Racer Extraordinaire, Australia's Phil Lovett on another Kawasaki ZX-10. That's the battle going further down through the field, and a big crash here at the Still Shot turn number 1. Just a localised yellow at the moment, but the rider struggling to get to his feet as the rest of the field goes through. So the officials will quickly get to that stricken rider. On board here with Nick Cole down past the start-finish line here at Wanganui and slowing down. So the red flags are out. The race has been halted. So that means that Nick Cole will be declared the winner. In second place, it will be Sloane Frost, and in third place, it will be Scott Moyer. And that's the way the officials see it as well. Fourth place goes to Hayden Fitzgerald from Taranaki, and in fifth, it's the veteran Tony Rees, followed by the star of the meeting, Guy Martin. And we can tell you from the officials that the rider that came down was fine. Classic sidecars next here at the Suzuki Series at Wanganui. Well, they weren't on the official program in 1951 at the first race, but they were there from 52 onwards, and they've been a fixture here at Wanganui ever since. The rig to beat is the 242, that is John Blamires and Charlie Bilby, and they are sitting on the front row. Classic sidecars here at Wanganui. Have a look out there for rig number 74, Will Williamson and Julie Loveridge. They may not be at the front of the field, but they certainly are the crowd favourites. We're underway, and it is Blamires and Bilby on the outside, just looking to see if they can make the covering pass. They do as they go into the Still Shot turn number 1, down the short chute into the Whiskers turn number 2 here at Wanganui, and out onto Taupo Key. This is the fastest part of this 1 mile circuit, and already it is the Masters. And that is Blamires and Charlie Bilby. I can tell you that Charlie Bilby's father is in this field as well. See if we can get a look at him a little bit later on. Number 242, the Motor Guzzi. The Motor Kiwi sponsored rig, that's them in the front. And this has been the dominant classic sidecar here at Wanganui for the last few years. They hold the lap record in classic sidecars. And we've got pretty good conditions here at Wanganui today, so that may just go. 284 through in second place. This is Brian Stent and Tracy Bryan. Tracy doing a great job on the side of the rig. She's the swinger. And then in behind them, it is Rob Hood and Mark Thompson. So the status quo has been resumed here as we go back out onto Taupo Key to complete the second lap of the classic sidecars, brought to you by the Ignition Motor Group. And it is Blamires and Bilby in the front. Charlie Bilby is a fireman here in Wanganui. That's his day job. Let's get a good look there at 850. This is Rob Hood and Mark Thompson. It's a Norton Commando powered sidecar, sponsored by R&R Performance Engineering. And when you consider that some of the technology used in these classic chairs is probably 20 or 30 years of age now, and the times aren't that too dissimilar to what we'd see in the Formula One sidecar. So it's a tribute to Kiwi engineering and the ability of these guys to get the most out of these rigs. Rig number 55, this is Mark Smith and Sid Sutherland from Carterton, 750 Triumph, sponsoring the Just Phones online sponsored rig. And just look how much of a gymnast the swinger has to be. Just counteracting the G-forces, counteracting gravity as they work their way in and out of the Robert Holden turn, and now heading up towards the Pirelli Bridge. Big crowd in, as we always see here at Wanganui. Good conditions, a little bit of a sprinkle of rain early on, but it's come right now as this battle hots up for first and second place. Still Bilby and Blamires, or Blamires and Bilby in the front. Brian Stent, Tracy Bryan in second. Triumph Trident powered rig in second place, sponsored by Motul Oil. But these guys, well, as I said before, they've been dominant in classic sidecars for a long, long time now. Both been around the sidecar scene for a long time, both in F1s and also classics, and they're starting to come into the lap traffic. And it'll be Rick and Dave Dennison that I'll pick up first on their 1962 matchless rig, sponsored by Laser Plumbing of Wanganui. These are Wanganui locals, so they'll be getting a fairly good reception from the big crowd here. Still no change at the front of the field. Still Brian Stent and Tracy Bryan in second place, but they haven't got an answer at the moment for Bilby and Blamires, or Blamires and Bilby. Blamires being the rider, Charlie Bilby being the swinger. Although the lap traffic could have something to say about this, because it looks to me like Stent and Bryan are getting a little bit closer out on the Taupo Key. 2:44. Another one about to be put one lap behind Bruce Roberts and Jim Bilby. That is Charlie's father. So 2 generations of Bilbys out on the cemetery circuit here for 2013. Blame Eyes just extending the lead a little bit now from Brian Stanton. Tracy Bryan, the Motor Guzzi rig, has always had the speed advantage, but it's a great performance coming from Stanton and Bryan in the Triumph Trident rig. And they are closing the gap, but they're going to run out of real estate, I would think, as they work their way. And just have a look at Charlie Bilby as he comes up over the Pirelli Bridge and down to the finish line this time. So Blame Eyes and Bilby get the win. In second place, it will be Stanton Bryan. Then there's a couple of lap riders in there, and one of those is Charlie Bilby's father, along with Bruce Roberts. And the next one through would be number 316, and that's Rick and Dave Dennison. So third place will go to number 850. That's the Norton Commando rig, just coming over the top of the bridge now, and that's Rob Hood and Mark Thompson. So the official results show you that it is John Blame Eyes and Charlie Bilby with the win. In second place, Brian Stent and Tracy Bryan, and in third place, Rob Hood and Mark Thompson. Fourth place goes to Mark Smith and Sid Sutherland. What is it about this magic little machine? I mean, it's been unbeatable here for, what, 3-4 years now?
Yeah, I think reliability is a big
There's a legend in New Zealand rowing, a legend not many people know about. A bloke called Billy Webb, a world champion and a professional sculler in the early years of the 20th century. Now, 100 years later, rowing has another legend, Mahi Drysdale. And he's back to defend his Pro Space Billy Webb Challenge title.
Well, I think overall it's the strongest field we've had. I think in previous years it's sort of been a two-horse race, but this year I think there's some of the other guys that could be certainly up there challenging.
Well, this year's a bit different. We've got 5 boats instead of 3, and obviously the course has a bit more of a river rules aspect to it, where if you can manage to get a foothold in front, then you can use that to your advantage.
The 2010 Pro Space Billy Webb Challenge welcomes international rowers fresh from the World Championships, including Britain's Alan Campbell, who's a great fan of this type of event.
You know, they're a more entertaining form of racing, so it is. I mean, look at the people we have here tonight, probably people that have never, looked at a rowing boat in their life. They're here, and it's something a little bit more interesting than just the average.
It's great. It's a nice way to relax. Obviously, usually there's a little bit of more of a gap from the World Champs, but it's nice to sort of, I suppose, start the next season off with a bit of a bill.
No, I'm really looking forward to it. I've only just had one row up the course so far, but I think I'll be able to do all right as long as I don't hit any of the bridges. And if anyone does see me going to hit a bridge, please give me a shout. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, no, we're good mates. Off the water, that is. We're enemies on it, but no, it's good fun. And obviously, I've been over in England a lot training with him, and and we are good friends. And this is the first time he's been out here, so it's nice to host him for once.
The women's field was headlined by American Ursula Grobbelaar, and this isn't the first time that she's rowed in this type of event.
Last year was my first breakthrough with Head of the Charles in Boston, the US, and I rowed in the open weight, the championship single. It was a very special event. It was the centennial of the Head of the Charles, and I went ahead and I won it. So that was very special for me.
Out on the river, our commentators, 2 of the great names in New Zealand rowing, both world champions themselves, Mike Stanley and Philippa Baker-Hogan.
So it's now Emma Feathery who has taken the lead, and they are all close to the bank, so there's going to have to be some significant corrective action. And in fact, Harriet Austin, I think, is really in danger of merging into the willows here. They're all going to have to move out. That's left Emma Feathery quite comfortably in front. They're all rowing in her wash now, so it's Indian file in the women's single sculls as they approach the Wanganui Collegiate Shed. So it's Emma Feathery sitting out in front, and now, interestingly, Ursula Grobbelaar improving markedly. The lightweight singles sculler who won silver medal in the quad for the USA, Grobbelaar, is doing a wonderful job, but she really needs to be in a bit closer if she's going to roll over Emma Feathery. As they come through this next bridge, they will have to change lanes, and perhaps she's hoping that she'll stay close enough to Feathery that she'll be able to hold Feathery out when the turn might favour her. But it is Emma Feathery, 7th at the World Rowing Championships in the double sculls with Fiona Patterson. They just missed out on the final, rowed very well for 7th. She's looking across to her left there, but Grobbelaar really, she is doing a very good job. Very long reach forward from Grobbelaar, not much layback, but very, very accurate pickup and consistent boat speed.
Yes, she has. And she, if she just goes around this corner with Emma Feathery, that'll place her in a good position. She wants to make sure as a lightweight that she expends no more, that she doesn't go any further distance. Emma's picking a very good line here, the shortest line round the bridge. But Grobbelaar's really, I mean, like he said, she came here with a purpose. She's the world record holder on the lightweight scull. She's silver medal from the USA Women's Lightweight Scull just last week at the World Championships.
Well, the American Grobbelaar really putting the acid now on Emma Feathery as both these scullers head out into the middle of the river as they approach the Dublin Street Bridge. It really is getting very close at the head of the field. So Ursula Grobbelaar really doing some good work to negate the benefit that Emma Feathery has had of the bend. And she now is right up alongside the New Zealander, and perhaps if she can get her nose ahead, she will have the controlling position as they roll into the final bend, which will run around to their left. So this is a critical moment now in the women's single sculls 2010 Pro Space Billy Webb Challenge. Yes, well, I think Grubler's got the advantage here as the race splits up now, because we've got Harriet Austin and Louise Ayling staying against the Anzac Parade bank, and the big crowd on that side. And then we've got right across this other side now the American Grubler and Emma Feathery, and also Rebecca Scown. So Rebecca's now has come right across, but look, as we come up to the Dublin Street Bridge, we'll pick this up for you. It is going to be nothing in it between the two of them. Maybe Feathery still has the advantage, but we have Grubler much closer to the City Bank now. So if she can improve as they go down the straight and hold that speed of hers, it's Feathery who's going to have to come across, and that's going to cost her time and distance. Okay, well, we've had some action up the front of the field again. They had a little clash, and Lee Spear, the umpire, had to come and separate them. Interesting, though, it was Feathery's oar who was just ahead of Grubler, and Grubler had to move out of the way. So the New Zealander has got cover again back on the American as they came together and almost clashed, and Emma Feathery is pushed out again, so she now would have, I would estimate, close to a length on the American. So that was a critical time in the race there, and now have just had that little clash, and it's Feathery coming across in front of her to cover.
And just about even rating there. Emma picked up the rating for a moment to get across, but the American has gone with her. This American has an amazing background too. She was initially a runner. She's been a triathlete. She's a rower. Her aim, of course, is the London Olympics, and she's aiming for their lightweight women's double, which is the Olympic event. And remembering lightweight women only have one Olympic event, so if you're in America, there's only 2 women that can ever make that. Very, very tough lightweight sculling. Emma's certainly got the strong position, and it would take a lot for Grubler to go through, but look, a tremendous race she's put up. You've got to remember, these women have had a very long year.
Well, a big crowd now. You can see these scullers right in front of you, and Ursula Grubler prepared to go wide again and see if she can run over the top. She knew she wasn't going to get past Emma Feathery if she stayed in behind. She made the gutsy decision to go around the outside, and she is making some ground. She's got a boat speed back up again after a couple of little hiccups, but she really will have to work very hard, because I imagine now Emma Feathery will pull hard on that right hand stroke side scull and bring her bow lined up for the run into the finish, and that should see her 2 or 3 lengths ahead of the American. Wonderful sculling, tactical sculling from Feathery, gutsy sculling from the American. So here we have, coming into the final stages of the 2010 Pro Space Billy Webb Challenge, it's New Zealand's Emma Feathery from the United States, Ursula Grubler, as they come inside the last 50 odd metres. Really tough stuff. Louise Ayling approaching now the City Bridge. Going to have to watch out if she just needs to have a look around to her left to make sure she's going to get cleanly through the bridge. And then we've got Harriet Austin, and unfortunately Rebecca Scown just caught up in the boat wash of the camera boats and things. So the final strokes, 2010 Billy Webb post-race Billy Webb Challenge. Emma Feathery rose through. Tremendous victory for her, and second place American Ursula Grubler. What a game performance, and Louise Ayling has really improved all the way down the track, and she'll hold on for third.
The first half, the first 3K was perfect, and then as soon as we turned, then by the one bend when the chop started, then I definitely had a bit of trouble. There's nothing like finishing off the year with a river race, especially one as spectacular as the one that Wanganui City puts on. I'm so pleased to be here and to finish my year on a high note.
The Whanganui River flows over 290 kilometres from the mountains to the sea, but it's the last 5 kilometres that is the course for the Pro Space Billy Webb Challenge. The men's field are at the start. Once again, our commentators Mike Stanley and Philippa Baker-Hogan.
And away and racing in the men's single sculls 2010 Billy Webb Pro Space Single Sculls Challenge, and as the Englishman Alan Campbell, world bronze medalist, quickly into his stride and into his lead in lane 2. So the white-shirted Campbell now sitting ahead of Mahe Drysdale to his left by just 1 length as they go through the first 200 metre mark. To our left is the American John Winter. Then we have Campbell, Drysdale in the middle of the field. Right alongside him, the young Robbie Manson, and our lightweight single sculler, Duncan Grant. So going through 500 metres of the 5,000 metres race here in the men's single sculls, it is Alan Campbell from Great Britain leading from Robbie Manson from Wairau, New Zealand. Right in the middle, though, is the Colossus of sculling, Mahe Drysdale, the big, tall New Zealander, now starting to get into his stride. Lower rating, but longer strokes, and he's now starting to draw up alongside Campbell. So Mahe Drysdale on the move now, and he looks very, very good, Philippa, in this sort of mode, and this is the mode that can win these races.
Yes, it is. It's a long race. Mahe, of course, he's in his 3rd year here. He's the defending champion. He knows he has to sit with these guys. Don't let them get too far away. He is the most experienced guy, but he's got into a rhythm. He's looking strong. He's looking calm. And we're seeing Campbell's kind of looking under a bit of pressure here from Robbie Manson at this stage. And good on Robbie. He's not here for the minor medals. He's here to take home some bacon. And to give it to these guys. He's sitting in a white boat green. We've got Mahe in the middle in a black boat, and he's black. And we have our UK number 3 in the world, Alan Thompson. He's looking all white.
So these scullers now settled well into their rhythm, and Campbell just starting to put a tactical move on Drysdale. Both Campbell and Robbie Manson sitting 3/4 of a length ahead of Drysdale. They can't move across in front of him, but I imagine that's exactly what the Englishman will want to do if he can. And as he heads over towards the east bank, so he's got to watch that he doesn't get move across to that bank too much, because that's going to cost him time and distance. And it is Robbie Manson from New Zealand who's sitting in the best position right now.
But I tell you what, Mike, Duncan Grant, yes, he's not giving up here also. Of course, 3 times world champion, had a bit of a tough time in the semi-final in rough conditions last week, didn't quite make the final, but he showed with his time that he's right up there, and he's hanging on to these guys.
Yes, well, Duncan Grant on the improve. He's got his rating up. He would be at 34 strokes a minute. Manson on around about 32, Drysdale down at 31, and Drysdale's moving through as we speak. Duncan Grant's doing some wonderful work on the outside, but the black boat of Mahe Drysdale trying to get up alongside Alan Campbell before they make the Aramo Bridge. It's all on now. Campbell and Drysdale putting the pressure on Robbie Manson, and they're starting to move through as they approach the Wanganui Collegiate shed here. There's still 100 or so metres to go before that point, and it's all on at the lead of the field. Well, there's really some decisions to be made here, folks. It's a wonderful race at the lead of the field as the 2 big men start to open up. Alan Campbell still has that 3/4 a length on Drysdale. They're tucked hard up against the eastern bank of the Wanganui River, and both men will have to come back into the centre a little in order to go through the Aramo Bridge. But it is Campbell who is furthest to the right. He's furthest to the east. Drysdale just 1 lane out, and they're starting to open up now away from Robbie Manson, the early race leader, and Duncan Grant. So these 2 men now, silver and bronze at this year's World Rowing Championships, really taking it to each other, and Drysdale's going to have to do the work to get ahead of the Briton.
Yes, he is. Yes, as you would expect. These are the big 2 heavyweights in the world. You don't get any better than this, ladies and gentlemen. They're taking it to them. They're pushed out perhaps a length from Duncan Grant and Robbie Manson. These guys now are going to have to really keep with it and of course have their own race. But a tremendous, they had no choice, these 2 young guys. Grant and Manson is to give it a go, and they're not out of it yet, but they're just simply the class of the other two is going to be very hard to compete with, Mike.
Well, we're now approaching the finish line of the Aromaho 2,000 metre course here on the Whanganui, and it's a real ding-dong battle up front. The two big heavyweights are now starting to just lean away from the two early challengers, and these two, of course, have trained against each other time and time again on the Tideway in London, where Drysdale would train right alongside Campbell, so they know each other intimately. And New Zealand, Mahe Drysdale now starting to mount another challenge, and Campbell repelling. What a wonderful race between these two men, both with V8 motors in terms of power available, both superb technicians. And Drysdale now is level. He's level with Alan Campbell from Great Britain as they come to the Aramo Rail Bridge.
Yes, it is a great race, and it looks like, of course, they've got to now navigate their way around through the bridge and make sure they don't hit any pylons there. Campbell is certainly just rating a couple more points up on Mahe, so Mahe's looking particularly good. He's right into his stride, coming into a bit of a incoming tide and slight headwind, very good water, but this certainly suits Mahe. He is the defending champion. He really is quite committed to this race, and he helps draw some of the big names as we've got this year. We've had Olaf Tufter in the past, of course, and we've had the young man from Belgium, of course.
Well, Duncan Grant just having to take some very quick evasive action as one of the pilings. He gets very close to that one, and he goes through in third spot. Robbie Manson in fourth spot. Now we look at the race, back to the race leaders now. Drysdale with that punishing length he has in his stroke, really pushing hard on those oars, leaning into this headwind now, and he's just got a fraction on Alan Campbell, but Campbell, of course, still has the advantage of the bend and will want to defend that all the way around, and he's doing a good job with that slightly higher rating, slightly shorter stroke, and he's just keeping his bow overlapping with Drysdale, so he can't cut across him. He doesn't want to let him get any further ahead at this stage. If he does, Philippa, Mahe can cross right in front of him and give him that dirty water. So as we run along the Anzac Parade bend here on the Whanganui River, the 2010 Pro Space Billy Webb Challenge, about halfway now through this 5,000 metre race, and it is the three-time world champion, this year's silver medalist, Mahe Drysdale in the lead. He's going to have to watch it in there though, Philippa, with your knowledge. There's a few sandbanks that he can get tied up on there, but both scullers taking an absolutely identical line, so I guess any trouble that one of them strikes, the other one it will as well. But what a performance here from Duncan Grant. Disappointed that he didn't make the final of the men's lightweight single sculls and defend his crown, but boy, is he showing that he's in good form, because he is now within 3 lengths of Alan Campbell and closing.
Yes, he is, and of course, and I mean, he's up about 3 or 4 points on them. He's about 35, Mahe's on about 31, and Campbell's probably about 32 at the stage. But Duncan, a great technician himself, of course. The lightweight's a little bit more efficient. They don't sink the boat as much. Of course, he doesn't have to weigh in for this race, so hopefully he's had a good feed the night before. But look, he just keeps looking over his shoulder. He is not giving up. I think Duncan really rates himself. If anything happens here, these two guys, of course, one of them could blow up. What we're not saying is, just how very hard this is. 2,000 metres, these guys normally would have stopped. That'd been a pretty damn good race. But they've got another 3K to go, and they're an absolute anaerobic threshold. And Duncan's he's going to sit in there and sniff any chance he's got.
Well, we approach the Dublin Street Bridge now, 2010 Pro Space Billy Webb Challenge. Drysdale goes through there, and the water conditions now just cutting up as we see the big New Zealander just bouncing around a little bit, so boat control going to be vital. There goes Alan Campbell of Great Britain. He's through the bridge now, so that's the gap. It's a pretty comfortable margin. Drysdale hard up against the city bank there. He's going to have to be careful as he moves past the museum that he doesn't snag an oar there. He just had a little moment there where his boat did a little jitter, and one of the oars got a little caught, so he has to do some adjustments, but he's got enough of a cover that he can afford a couple of mistakes as they shoot around the bend now, so they'll be just pulling ever so slightly on the right-hand scull to manoeuvre themselves around, staying close to the bank, and then shooting under the big crowd here that will welcome them in the final stages of the 2010 Pro Space Billy Webb Challenge. And Campbell pushes the rating up again as he just wants to close that gap on Drysdale before the finish and keep the pressure on the New Zealander. Through comes Duncan Grant in the green. Both the next two men, Duncan Grant and Robbie Manson, in the green of the Wairau Rowing Club from Marlborough. So there is Mahe Drysdale, three-time world champion, world Olympic bronze medalist, 2009 silver medalist, and what a great display of sculling from these two world-class performers. Yes, well, so we're coming into the final stages now, the 2010 Pro Space Billy Webb Challenge, and Mahe Drysdale in commanding form now, sitting in front of the field and just now easing down as he comes into the finish. Campbell, what a great sprint, what a great spirit from the British sculler as he comes in front of the big crowd here in Whanganui on the Wanganui River. There goes Drysdale. Campbell will take second, and Duncan Grant, the three-time world champion lightweight single sculls, holds on to that third spot.
By Pirelli. We're talking about Toby Summers. Have a look at him in the middle of the picture there, number 777. Another good start coming from him. Good start too from Jaden Carrick. Carrick out-qualified Summers, but in race number 1 it was Summers that took the win from Carrick. So these two have been battling it out, and they used to battle it out on the Supermoto bikes as well. And you'll see Toby in those a little bit later on. So Carrick through in second place, and it's Adam Chambers on the Wolfpack Honda. And then it looks like Ashley Payne, the Wanganui man on the Suzuki, through in fourth place. Already getting a little bit untidy as he works his way through the Suzuki crossing under the Emmets Bridge and up into Robert Holden. 777, the R&R Power Sports, Yamaha Bike Talk, Summers Plumbers, Yamaha R6, Jaden Carrick, the GJ Gardner's Home Suzuki in second place, and then it is Adam Chambers on the Wolfpack Honda in third. So all the major brands represented, because we've got a Kawasaki in there as well, in the form of Seth Devereaux, just further back at the moment. Across the stripe, 1 down and 7 to go for Toby Summers. He led after the first round at Hampton Downs. The second round of the Suzuki Series was at the Manfield Auto Course, and here we are at the final here at the infamous Cemetery Circuit of Wanganui. 777, Summers on the Yamaha. Carrick gets a little bit closer. Adam Chambers just starting to nip at the back wheel of the Suzuki of Jaden Carrick. That's the first three as they work their way through the S's under the bridge, up into Robert Holden once again. Carrick on the GJ Gardner Suzuki, his second full season on the 600 machines. Both the front two coming from the Supermoto background, and before that motocross. And Summers has a cheeky look behind just to see where Jaden Carrick is. Carrick is his biggest opposition in the points situation here at Wanganui. Further back through the field, we'll have a look at the battle for 5th and 6th place. Ashley Payne, the local man from Wanganui. Daniel Meadham from Auckland on the Wolfpack Honda. Down the inside into the still turn number 1 goes Meadham, but he runs a little bit wide, and I think Payne will come back at him. No, he can't get the pass done as they go out on the Taupo Key. So great little battles within battles here at the Cemetery Circuit. Ashley Payne trying to get around or keep Daniel Meadham in behind him. Go on board here with Ray Clee. Ray Clee riding two classes. You'll see him on the Superbike as well as here on the 600s as they work their way through the Suzuki crossing. A stricken bike there on the curb. Interesting to see what the officials do about that. Back with the race leader. Toby Summers has extended now. Second has changed though. Adam Chambers, bike number 64. The Wolfpack Honda sponsored man moves into second place now. Carrick goes back into third. There was Ray Clee from the outboard shot. This now the battle for second and third as they work their way down into turn number 1, the Still Shop corner, then the Mars Pet Care turn, and out onto Taupo Key. They will come. So it is Adam Chambers on bike number 64. That is the Wolfpack Honda run by Jamie Rajek, and right in behind him it is Jaden Carrick. So out on the Taupo Key they go once again, and Carrick just in front of the Honda. That battle, you get the feeling, will last the whole of the race. At the moment, Toby Summers just clearing away from the rest of the field. Second place is Adam Chambers and Jaden Carrick, but a huge field of 600s here. Probably the biggest field we've seen for the last 5 years, and that means that the sport is in good heart. And these 600cc machines, they are a wonderful sport touring machine. Sure, they make a wonderful racing bike, but you can also ride them down to the shops and have a lot of fun on them. Kawasaki, Suzuki's, Yamahas and Hondas. They're all represented here in the Pirelli-sponsored F2 600 Supersport here at Wanganui. And we've got the German visitor here as well, Thomas Kreutz, making his second appearance at Wanganui. He had his first race win at the Manfield round of the Suzuki Series. This man about to have his second race win here at Wanganui. Toby Summers has been the dominant performer in the 600s. He punches the air. He knows he's wrapped up the Suzuki Series title, and he's won again here on the streets of the Cemetery Circuit. In second place it will be Adam Chambers, and in third place it'll be Jaden Carrick on the Suzuki. And that's the way the judges saw it as well. So Toby Summers dominant on the 600, and he wins the Suzuki Series from Adam Chambers in second place, Jaden Carrick in third, then it was Daniel Mettam and Thomas Kreutz, the likeable German, through in fifth place. Well, it is always a quandary, isn't it? What to do with the weather? It's been raining, so tyre choice has become critical. Toby Summers has gone for full wets. Richie Dibbins has got a wet tyre on the front and a slick on the back. Will it be the right combination? They work their way into turn one. It's Dibbins in the front, Summers in second. Then it's Malachi Mitchell Thomas. Once again, huge fields here at Wanganui. They're super popular. At one stage, I would have thought that the sidecars were the most popular, but now I think it would belong to the Supermoto riders. Richie Dibbins has spent the New Zealand off-season up in Europe working for the man in third place, and that is Mel Mitchell Thomas. Toby Summers through in second. Thomas on the R&R Power Sports Yamaha. Behind him, the TM, the Italian machine that we saw David Gozzini race here in Wanganui a few years ago. In fact, Gozzini holds the lap record for Supermoto. That may go today, such as the fierceness of the competition between these two. Richie Dibbins, number one on the Honda. 777, Toby Summers on the Yamaha. First and second in the points in Supermoto. And look at Toby Summers down the inside trying to make the pass as they come into the still shot turn. You're on board here with Summers. Has he got past Richie Dibbins? I think he might have done. Yes, he did. Down the Wanganui.com straight and into the Mars Pet Gear turn. You'll see there's been a change for first and seconds. It's Summers on the Yamaha, Dibbins on the Honda. There we are. We confirm it from the outside shot. Round past Suzuki. The Suzuki crossing they head now. Up into the Nolan Helmets S's. Under the Emmett Bridge they go. And it is Summers in the front. You can see patches of rain still on the circuit here at Wanganui. The weather's been a little bit patchy to say the least, but it hasn't kept the big crowd away and hasn't kept the excitement levels down at all. Into Robert Holden and out into Hooker's Transport turn now. Race leader is Toby Summers. Richie Dibbins in second place. Dibbins doesn't necessarily have to win this race. He's got quite a healthy points advantage in the Suzuki Series. They're on board here with the veteran Mitch Rowe from Taranaki on the KTM. As he chases down one of the Honda riders, in fact passes him as they work their way down the DML Builders Straight and out onto the Mars Pet Care turn. We go back to the front of the field. Dibbins chasing Summers. Just waiting for this next group to go through. It should be the Englishman in there as well. That's Malachi Mitchell Thomas. There he is, MMT. Just ahead of him, it is the man that finished second in the New Zealand title chase. That's Don Oliver from Fielding. Also on a TM, the Italian made machine. As I said before, saw David Gozzini race superbly on one of those machines here a few years ago at Wanganui. And now it is a battle of the TMs because the New Zealand second, New Zealand number two, John Oliver, goes up in front of the Englishman. This is Mitch Rowe, number 5, one of the veterans. Started in motocross years and years ago now. In fact, his daughter is now a New Zealand motocross champion. Such is the dedication of Mitch Rowe from Taranaki. Number 710 in the mix as well. And that is Ben Bauman from Wanganui on the Bauman Bobcats and Diggers Honda. So this battle for the mine is really starting to shape up now, and the TM boys going at it like there's no tomorrow. The Englishman who competes regularly on the European Supermoto scene as we go back to the front of the field because Richie Dibbins is now knocking on the door of the back bumper or the back mudguard of Toby Summers. Under the Emmett Bridge they go, heading towards Robert Holden. Can Dibbins pull something special out here? You're on board with the leader, looking back at second place. Wanganui's Richie Dibbins. Up the inside he goes. Can he make it stick? As they head into the Hawkers Transport turn, I think he can. We'll be able to see it here. Yes, he can. Toby Summers looks down at the machine. Has he got a problem? Because already there's daylight between Dibbins and Summers as they work their way down onto the DML Builders Straight. Checkered flag comes out and Dibbins has picked the pocket of Toby Summers.
Oh, that river, it was just fantastic. I haven't had an experience like that before.
Well, it means everything, eh? It's the life force of the whole place, eh? It comes from the mountain straight to the sea. bringing tourism into the area, and a lot of them we see talk about going to get a cultural experience on the river. You know, we're all for it, it's just what gives us a chance to speak and show who we are.
We basically try to give every river user a pōuri. Generally the end of the day, just before the sun goes down, we'll do one pōuri. We'll welcome everyone onto the road. And our aim is just to give everyone a little bit of Wanganui style Māori and allow them to enjoy the beauty of this place.
We're at the Mangapuru landing and it's along the Wanganui journey, and people normally stop here to access the bridge to nowhere.
It's just amazing to see a bridge out in the middle of nowhere.
The Mangapuru track is actually part of the Mountains to Sea cycle trail as well. It's quoted by the Kennett brothers, who are the mountain bike gurus of New Zealand, as if there's any one adventure ride you're going to do this year, this should be it. I'm a local, I love the place, so it's good to see that more and more people are coming to visit it.
So we're at Wanganui campsite. Back in the day, a lot of Māori used to live high up in the river, so they used to have their marae and pā sites up, similar to the campsite. The Wanganui journey runs right through the centre of one of the country's biggest biodiversity projects called Kia Warete. The project aims to improve forest condition and increase bird species. If people are doing the journey, not only do they get an understanding of the rich cultural landscape, but they also get a good picture of the biodiversity work happening in the area as well.
To see it up and running and starting to get a bit greener, and a few more of the native species coming through, and then more kiwis and blue ducks, and that's what it's all about really, is keeping that ngāhere up there and running. And once we lose it, that's one of the great walks or national parks gone. The
bush is looking fantastic and green, and an increase in some bird populations, kakariki and robin, and as you can see, lots of fantail. It's pretty alive at the moment.
Over a century ago, Billy Webb of Wanganui was a champion sculler, match racing the best in the world all over the world. And in 2012, Wanganui has brought the best in the world back to the Great River.
There's really no favourite, I guess, going into this. It will be who can pull it out on the day.
I never know what to expect from these guys. I know they are strong when they are fit, but now it's a little bit off-season, so anything can happen.
As a group, we haven't done too much training since London. Most of us have taken a well-earned break because we haven't had much of a break over the last 4 years of our life. So we've enjoyed that break, and now it's sort of it's almost going to be a survival test, to be honest. Because obviously 5 kilometres a long way when we're not at our normal training levels, you could say. So yeah, Mahi, he always seems to pull out these big races, even when you think that he's not that fit. He somehow manages to dig pretty deep to win.
It will be a world of hurt. I know everyone's going to be struggling because of the lack of, I guess, rowing intense training that we've had the break since the Olympics. So it should be a pretty even field.
I'm used to training on a river, much smaller river than this, so I'm used to turn my head and to have the right course and stuff like that. So I like this kind of racing.
It's always good to get out on rivers because that's where most of us grew up rowing, and sort of gets back to the roots of the sport a bit more.
We've definitely got some cool rivers all over New Zealand, and I think Wanganui was where rowing kind of started big time in New Zealand, and it's good to be back here and be part of it all.
This is actually the only race in the world where you've got 5 or 6 people mass start over that sort of distance. So it is good, and I think you can see the calibre of people that we've had out here. The likes of Olaf Tufte, Alan Campbell, Lassie Curran, coming and competing shows that this race is important.
It's events like this that really capture the public's attention. We captured the public's attention from the Olympics, and you only tend to do that once every 4 years or once every year, when you get some world champ results. So to have events like this throughout the country in different places with different meanings, it's really fantastic that we can do it.
The pacing is always the hardest part, because obviously we know what we're used to being able to do, but we're probably not fit enough to achieve that. So I think you'll see some people go out and have some very different race strategies, and some may go out hard and not be able to last the distance. So it'll be a very interesting race, and I think you could see a lot of changes as the race develops.
Mahi Drysdale is the defending champion of the Aon Billy Webb Challenge. In fact, he's won 2 of the 3 challenges to date. His only loss to Norway's Olaf Tufte way back in 2008. But the Aon Billy Webb Challenge is not the only event on the river this weekend. The Corporate 8s is popular and entertaining for the Whanganui locals. And as a warm-up for the challenge itself, the night sprints, 500 metres at full throttle. Rowing fans know Nathan Cohen, world champion and Olympic champion, but his little brother Hayden isn't so well known, although he may be soon after beating Mahi Drysdale, big brother Nathan and Lassie Karanen.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It was a pretty good surprise. You know, we just kind of got told to come down and we got kind of told the draw, and I was racing Mahi the first round, so it's going to be an uphill battle, so managed to battle him out and make it all through to the final.
We did the 500-metre sprints, and you know, he knocked Mahi out first round, knocked me out second round, and went on to win the final.
I'll let the older guys battle it out tomorrow and watch it on the sideline.
In the women's sprints, Australian Kim Crow proved her class over the 500 metres. And as the international guest, the winner of 2 medals at the London Olympics, she had the honour of the first draw for lane position. Kim Crow drew the middle of the river, Sarah Gray on one side of her, Fee Burke on the other, and Zoe Stevenson on the east bank. The men's field is one bigger, so the lane draw could be a little more important. The defending champion with the honour of choosing his lane.
The rules of the Billy Webb Challenge state that the challenger, the defending champion gets to choose his lane. So the defending champion, being Mahi, he chooses his lane. We've got 5 lanes. It's one hand, Mahi. Lane 3.
Drysdale then in 3 with Nathan Cohen and Eric Murray flanking him. The outside lanes at the start occupied by Lassie Karanen and Joe Sullivan.
Obviously, you don't know the conditions. It would be nice to pick it on the morning when you know exactly where the wind and currents are. But you know, I thought that was a pretty safe bet in the middle. You can see what's going on around you, and you know, hopefully, you know, from there you're not going to lose too much to anyone if the conditions aren't too favourable. You know, it starts with the 2K course, so you know, even with 6 across, it's pretty comfortable down there. But you know, being a river race, it starts to get interesting after that first bridge. You start going around corners and through bridges, so you know, then you want to be in a good position. So obviously, you know, if there's many people, there's a few different tactics. You know, you want to be in control of where you want to go, rather than be forced where the others want you to go. So you know, that you might see some fireworks in that first 2K.
At this kind of race, you have the turns, the bends, you have bridges. You need to watch out for things in the water. You have no courses, so you can interact with the other rowers as well. It's a lot more exciting, I think. A lot more things can happen.
And I think the rules are that you can, if you do get in front, you can start washing them down. So that'll be quite a good tactic, actually. So I might use a bit of my my sprint energy first up, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, that's just annoying to be behind. You want to be in a good position, maybe not always in the lead, but in a good position in the mix.
You have to watch your course quite a bit, because it's easy to go off course and lose quite a few metres from taking wide corners and stuff. So yeah, it is a little bit trickier than just your normal 2K course, but yeah, it's quite fun as well. Everyone's pretty competitive, so I think we'll all just try to get out at the start and try and sit in front of everyone else really, and yeah, everyone will be going pretty hard to be the first across the line.
I don't know what to expect. I think it's probably going to be pretty feisty and fierce out of the start. I'm hoping someone shows me the way. I think a few people here probably know the river a bit better than I do, but I think there'll be some really good racing.
Upstream to the start now in the women's race in the 2012 Aon Billy Webb Challenge. The commentators on the water, Mike Stanley and Kelvin Ferguson.
So a full international field for the Philippa Baker Hogan Cup. The tactics here, I think, are to get in front and then to be able to cut the corner underneath the Aramoho Bridge. I think that's the anticipated tactics, and it's a bit of a drag race to start with. So here we're about to get underway, and we are underway in the 2012 Aon Billy Webb Challenge. It's a women's single sculls race for the Philippa Baker Hogan Cup, and the crews are away, and immediately we've got Fiona Burke coming right alongside Australian Kim Crow. Sarah Gray, though, would have the lead, perhaps a very, very narrow lead in the opening stanza in the women's single scull race. How do you call it, Kelvin?
Zoe on the outside, though, I think she's got the lead, just pushing away at the start there. So, and it's very close between the other three. So yeah, it's early stages. We'll just see what a bit of a wind now. bit of a strong wind we're going into it, so see you can hold strong into it and hold the length.
Okay, so this little wind just has come up, but it won't trouble the rowers. They're just going through a wash that's been produced by the powerboats coming up the river, but really conditions are still very good. But just as we're watching now, Crow seems to be just putting a little bit of pressure on, and Sarah Gray now trying to hang with her as well. So the taller, long stroking Kim Crow now just starting to move about boat ahead. She would have perhaps now a canvas on Sarah Gray, and then we have Fiona Burks just moved up alongside Zoe Stevenson. So 500 metres to go in this 5-kilometre race. It's a short 500, that one, because I think the crews had drifted off the true start line of the championship course, but there's no doubt about it now. Crow settled her rating down, and she nearly has a boat length on the challenging New Zealanders.
I think the average rating, Mike's about 28 strokes per minute out there. They're trying to go longer and stronger now into the wind, and Kim's very upright, very strong in her rowing, where some of the New Zealand girls are trying to go longer and just not quite so upright. I think it looks like Fiona's starting to make a push there. Sarah and Fiona look very similar placed. Kim's obviously, she's got about 3/4 of length, maybe trying to move out to a length there, and Zoe's probably doesn't quite have the impact anymore that she had at the start.
So the Australian Kim Crow leads the Philippa Baker Hogan Cup race for women's single scull, and she is starting to move out now. She can see to her left Sarah Gray, to her right Fiona Burke. They're now a length and a half, nearly length and a quarter at least, behind the Australian, so she's really in very commanding position here. She's a very tall athlete. You talked about her sitting quite upright. She doesn't need to quite have the same angle of body movement because she is so tall, Kelvin.
Well, that's right. She has got the levers. I mean, long arms and long legs, so she's making the most of that. And she's got a very strong back position. Perhaps later on in the race, as she gets more comfortable, she may swing back a bit more and use that. But certainly she's holding the pressure in the handles right through to the finish.
Very clean work. We go through the 1,000-metre mark now, so you see how quickly we are covering the course today. While there's a slight headwind, the tide is going out here on the Whanganui River, and it's giving these crews a little push, so they're relishing in these conditions. So it's Crow now, 2 lengths out in front, and she's starting to veer a little bit to her right, so she's wanting to cut the corner as we've anticipated as they come up to the boat park, the start of the boat park here on the Wanganui Championship course. So Kim Crow really moving out with every stroke now. Very, very accurate blade work from the Australian. There's not a hint of the movement of the blade off the water as she approaches the critical part of the catch. Gets her blades in a very stable position, and then this wonderful drive that carries the boat forward. She's comfortably sitting on, what, 28, 29
yep.
strokes a minute now, Kelvin.
That's right. Kim's on 28 and a half. Sarah is on 31, and Fiona is on 29 and a half. So Kim's really using that strength and that power she's got to push herself ahead and moving away more and more. Zoe's struggling a little bit at the back here, and I think it's just a lack of experience in the single where the other girls have had more time. And there's a great battle going on for second at the moment, Fiona and Sarah. And, you know, Fiona looks like she may have the edge, but on the angle, very, very similar.
Yes, that's right. Well, Zoe Stevenson certainly working really hard there to stay up with these, and she's a young star of the future. The 2 other New Zealand scullers, Fiona Burke and Sarah Gray, both in the women's quadruple scull that finished 7th, but there was a tinge of sadness about that, of course, because they were in a qualifying position for the final and had a very unfortunate crab and cost them that place, and they had to race in the B final and won it quite handsomely. So duel going between those 2 scullers, but it is the Australian Kim Crow now in really a commanding position. She would be 3 lengths clear of the 2 New Zealand challengers.
Oh, that's right, Mike. She's looking very comfortable in what she's doing and you know, just controlling the race now. And I think she's just going to try and extend it as she goes, I think. You know, once they get through the railway bridge here at Aramaho, I imagine she'll try and cut the corners and have a shortest possible distance she can.
Well, this will be quite interesting now because Crow has moved quite a bit off to her right, so she's on the east bank now, where she started fairly close to the Aramaho bank, so she's moved quite a bit across. Fiona Burke's gone with her. Sarah Gray sitting in midstream about, so Gray will have a decision to make now. Does she follow these two scullers around the long bend that we're going to go around to the scullers right, or does she choose, as Kelvin's whispering to me here, does she choose and take a bit of a gamble and try to get the stronger current that is on the Aramo bank? So a decision for Sarah Gray to make in a moment. They'll all stay on their stations until the Aramaho Bridge, which is now only around about 300 metres away, and then they're going to have to make a choice about which of those two lines they take.
Yeah, my pick, Mike, is that they'll cut the corner. They'll stay to the Wanganui East Bank just to get between the railway bridge and the Dudman Street Bridge. Once they get to the Dudman Street Bridge, I would choose myself to go across to the city side where the current's a bit stronger, but between these two bridges coming up, I think the shortest distance is the best way to go.
Yes, well, that's seems to be following those lines. They're just a bit wary with the tide now on the ebb. It's there could be some exposed sandbanks that they have to take care of. So Kim Crow looks around now to her left. She's going through the pretty much the centre span of the Aramaho Railway Bridge, and she'll go through just in a 4 or 5 strokes time. So we'll take them through and we'll give you an idea of what that lead is. So here goes Kim Crow underneath the bridge now, and she's comfortably in that first place. Then Fiona Burke goes through now, and Sarah Gray through now. So not much between Burke and Gray, and Zoe Stevenson goes through now. That's the field in the Philippa Baker Hogan Cup Women's Single Scull of the 2012 Aon Billy Webb Challenge, and it's the Australian Kim Crow in the lead.
That's right. Kim's going to have to watch out if she gets too close to that Wanganui East Bank now. There could be submerged logs or anything under the water she may not see. She's getting very close now, trying to take the shortest distance. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see how she gets along the bank here, and hopefully in safety.
Now she seems to have bumped the rating up a little bit as well, just as they went through the bridge, and she's got a fairly lively beat. Yet you're right, Kelvin, she's very, very close to the bank, and there are a couple of spectators just admiring her blade work as she goes past. Hopefully there's no exposed logs along that bank or sandbanks, but now Fiona Burke also takes that line as well, but Sarah Gray has stuck pretty much to the centre line here, as has Zoe Stevenson. So I think they're probably going to take an earlier movement across to the city bank. But Crow just cementing that lead, sitting in there, ticking the boat over at 29-30 strokes a minute. And Burke would just be perhaps 1 point below her, not much in between that. But is it your impression that Sarah Gray's making some move on Fiona at the moment?
Oh, that's right. It looks like Sarah's really trying to do a big push now, and she's doing a good, courageous move there where she's in a good position. If she stays that line, once she gets down past the motorboat, Wanganui Motorboat Club, and then cuts across to the far bank, it should actually give her a little bit of a boost in the current. So yes, she's actually making some good ground at the moment.
She is, so she's almost got overlap. She really did a piece after the bridge. Now, the challenge, of course, lactate levels get up at this point of the race. When you do a bit of a spurt, it really creates a fair bit of pain, which she'll be carrying. It's a question of can she maintain that momentum, hold that closeness to Burke, and then shoot across to the city bank.
Well, she's a local girl as well, and there's a bit of pride here involved with the Wanganui River for Sarah. So, look, she's looking like she's going okay at the moment. Just needs to keep holding that length and holding the boat run. And she's had a quick look around at Fiona. Now she's probably going to try and do another burst, I'd imagine.
So they're coming up to the Whanganui Motorboat Club. This is around about halfway in the women's single scull race. It is the Australian Kim Crow in a commanding lead. She would now have 6 or 7 lengths on Fiona Burke. The Australian looking very powerful. She has maintained that 29-30 strokes a minute and continues to make progress on the New Zealanders, but there is a very good race developing here between Fiona Burke and Sarah Gray, and they've taken very different lines. Gray is holding her line in the middle of the river in anticipation that the scullers will have to change banks in around about 1,000 metres time. Zoe Stevenson is still hanging in there. She would only be 2 or 3 lengths off the stern of Sarah Gray. So the single scullers now, they'll be knowing that it's only 2.5 or less kilometres to go, and I know a 5k race, while the ratings aren't as high as a 2k race, are still pretty powerful and painful events, Kelvin.
Oh, that's right. I mean, you know, it's a race, and no matter how the distance is, you're still going to push yourself to the maximum. And the rating roughly, say 28 to 30 rating, trying to hold the length. I'm just waiting to see what they do through the bridge here, because if there's a bit of wind around, if they get in the shelter of the far bank and the current, it'll be interesting to see how the positions change, and if they do. I know Zoe's had a look around back at the Wanganui Boat Club. She's trying to catch up as much as she can now, and there's a bit of a battle going on there. So we'll see. It's still, it's not over until we get right to the finish line.
That's right. Crow's comfortably in the lead, and really that's going to be very, very hard for them to overcome at this point. Fiona Burke has 3 lengths now, perhaps 2.5 lengths on Sarah Gray, and the mover in the field is Zoe Stevenson, who nearly has that overlap with Sarah Gray. So the Australian now approaching the Dublin Street Bridge, and for those young women who are watching this race and are perhaps on the bank thinking about the sport of rowing, Kim Crow was a very well performed athlete and track and field, a hurdler, won a medal at the World Youth Championships, then sustained an injury and decided that with her height and athletic prowess that she should try another sport, and started rowing in about 2006, and now is a 2-time Olympic medalist in London, a silver medal in the double scull and a bronze medal in the single scull. She goes through the Dublin Street Bridge now, so there goes the Australian. She will now move across from the East Bank across to the Anamoe City Bank. Fiona Burke is in this comfortable second position. The girl from Takapau in Southland started rowing at Otago University as a student. There she goes through now. And Sarah Gray and Zoe Stevenson are virtually...
They
have gone together into the bridge, and Zoe's so close to that, she just squeaked past that pylon and has had a look around now, and she's now going to make a decision. It's some great catch-up rowing from Zoe.
Oh, that's right. I mean, Zoe just, she had a look around. She had thought, well, I'll have a go and I'll see what I can do, and now she's catching up to Sarah. This part of the river, it's great. It's so flat. The water's really nice. It's great conditions for the girls to race on now. And they are starting to verge across to the city side.
Sarah's really hurting here. She's right in front of us. We saw her do that very powerful push, Kelvin, just before halfway. And of course, that's a critical part of the race. I talked about the pain that these athletes have got to carry. And when you push at that point, you've got to be very confident in conditioning.
Oh, exactly right. And she's, I mean, the legs are looking a bit tired now, and there's a little bit in the upper body. And it looks like hard work for her now. And Zoe just moves through her.
Yes, well, Zoe's now got perhaps half a length on Sarah, but she still has to come a fair way across on the angle to get to the city bank. Kim Crow ahead of her, well ahead of her, is taking the exact same line. So Zoe's virtually rowing in the wake line of the leader, Kim Crow, but she would now be, she would be 150 metres ahead probably. Fiona Burke still in that second spot, but Stevenson is making good progress on her as well. And Sarah Gray is fighting on in the 2012 Philippa Baker Hogan Cup. Is up for grabs, but the Australian Kim Crow certainly has 1.5 hands on it at this stage at the 3/4 mark.
Well, that's right, Mike. Zoe's really making some great progress on Fiona there. She's really, every stroke she's taken, she's moving closer and closer. So, if she can just keep doing that, who knows how close she can get to that second spot.
Yeah, well, it's a gutsy performance, because she actually showed out at the start and then settled back down and has managed her race very, very well. She hasn't been fazed by these people getting in front of her, and she's moved past Sarah Gray. She's still got 3 or 4 lengths though to go to Fiona Burke, as the scull is now cut right across hard to the city bank, and Kim Crow now coming through. We're perhaps about a third of the way around to the city bridge now, and if you are around about the it's on parade here on the city side of Wanganui, you'll get a great view of these scullers as they come heading towards the Waimate ferry station.
Yeah, what you have to, Kim will just have to watch on the corner by the paddle steamer that the current pushes her out, so she may just find that current just pushes her around the corner quite wide, so that's just a little tricky spot for the athletes. you can get your blade caught. But she's rating 28.5, and she's been pretty constant between 28.5 to 30. So she's looking very comfortable with what she's doing there.
Well, she has a time trial, I understand, Kelvin, coming up for the Australian national team next weekend, so this is not a bad blowout for her.
Well, that's right. She was, talking to her yesterday, she said trials are coming up and she's probably not as fit as she wants to be, but this is a great blowout, and I think it'll give her confidence going to the trials, hopefully.
Well, she was a bit of a surprise in London. She hadn't raced a single scull in previous seasons, had been in the double scull twice for Australia, winning silver medals at the World Championships, and then popped up in the early World Cups and won a couple of them, I think, from memory, Kelvin. And you can see why. She's a very, very efficient sculler, isn't she? She doesn't use much body layback at the finish. It's all out the front, but she's very tall and very long out there and gets onto that boat beautifully on the legs and just pushes it along. So very efficient sculling.
Well, that's right, and the boat's sitting quite flat. It's not being pushed down the bow. And sitting up around the finish probably helps that. The World Cups, they weren't sure whether they were going to do the single or the double at the Olympics, and of course they did both. So it was great that she was able to do that. Not many athletes are actually capable of doing that. So a lot of talent. And was 28 years old. She's really just started.
That's right. Well, she hasn't been in the boat all that long, and rowing athletes can go well into their 30s. We've got some of ours, and a couple of them we're going to see in a moment in the men's race as well. Of course, Mahe Drysdale and Eric Murray coming up, along with Sweden's Lassi Karinen and our Olympic double scull combination gold medalist Nathan Cohen and Joe Sullivan. But here we are as we come around the steamer Waimare here on the Whanganui River, and leading is Kim Crow as she comes around, and she'll look over her left shoulder, I'm sure, and just line the city bridge up. But she has a big lead. She can take her time. She's now got a couple of 100 metres probably on Fiona Burke as Burke goes past the Union Boat Club, one of the famous clubs here at the Whanganui, on the Whanganui River. And second spot now is third spot, is Zoe Stevenson, who's rolled over the top of retiring Sarah Gray.
That's right. We're nearly there, Mike. It's not far to go now, and the girls are certainly looking for the finish line. It's been a hard race for them, and I know they're back to training tomorrow with Dick Tonks, so they've enjoyed just getting away and doing the race, and it's certainly not a picnic for them out there. It's hard work.
It is hard work, and you talk about that because Dick Tonks, one of the hardest taskmasters of training probably in the world. He has them 7 days a week at the moment, and these girls haven't had any lighten up for this race. He'll just be seeing this as a further bit of training as well. So there goes Kim Crow through the city bridge. I'm sure she's got it lined up from where we're sitting. She's very close to one of those pylons, but there she goes, just with about 150 metres to go. Wanganui give Kim a great cheer, a great New Zealand cheer. Double Olympic medalist. She has this race well in hand now, and Fiona Burke challenged very strongly in the early stages, but hasn't been able to stay with the Crow consistency through the middle of this race. Fiona Burke goes through the city bridge in that second space, and there's a real drag race going on for third, though, because Sarah Gray's found another gear and has come up right alongside Zoe Stevenson, who had passed her in the previous kilometre. So watch out for that third race. There's your winner, Kim Crow. Congratulations, Kim. Fiona Burke comfortably in that second spot, but there's nothing in it now for third, and it's Zoe Stevenson on the city bank with the white bloat, Sarah Gray in the yellow. Nothing in it. Look at these two after rating, 5 kilometres. Gray's on 40 rating, and she looks as though she's got a boat back up ahead of Zoe Stevenson. And after 5Ks, it comes down to those two. The last stroke will probably go to Gray, just ahead of Stevenson. Well, what a race between those two.
There was quite a bit of pride there too. Local girl Sarah, she certainly wanted to put on a good race today, and she finished well. There was a great,
Race number 2 for the Superbikes, brought to you by Suzuki, the choice of champions. Once again, the man to watch for bike number 5, that is Nick Cole. Down the inside goes number 1, Dennis Charlotte, but out into the front it looks like it'll be bike number 87, and that is Scott Moore from Taupo on the Promoto Suzuki. Sloane Frost moves into second place. Then it's Cole. Then we go back to Tony Rees. Always a fast starter. Dennis Charlotte in the field, bike number 1. Remember, he is the defending champion of the Suzuki Series, but he crashed out of race number 1, and that gave the points lead to the man sitting in third place at the moment, and that is Nick Cole on the Kawasaki. Cole won round number 1 at Hampton Downs, then had the bad luck to blow his race engine at Manfield. They used the spare bike just to salvage some points here, and now perhaps he's on the cusp of winning the Suzuki Series here at the Cemetery Circuit. Number 5 on the move down the inside of Sloane Frost. Sloane Frost getting a little bit untidy on the Fujitsu Red Baron Suzuki. The ex-Andrew Stroud bike as this huge field of superbikes funnels through. Can't miss the father and son combination of Sophie and Phil Lovett from Australia, although Sophie now living in New Zealand. Frost still holds on to second place. Sloane on the Suzuki this year, moved over from BMW in the New Zealand off-season. So Suzuki's 1 and 2, Kawasaki in third. Then it's the Honda of Tony Rees, the veteran. Came out of retirement a few years ago and then changes allegiance, and down goes Sloane Frost. Well, what happened there? And Frost has disappeared. He's gone under the air fence here as they work their way through the S's. Have a look at it again. Well, he just gets a little bit offline and then he washes the front end out. And the Fujitsu Suzuki takes a hard ride into the air fence, and so too does Sloane Frost. Racing continues. What? No, it doesn't now. The red flag comes out, so the second Superbike race is stopped, and that is because of the accident going through the S's involving Sloane Frost, and there he is, and they still haven't found the rider yet. There's the bike, there's Sloane's dad, and there is a fairly shocked, I would think, Sloane Frost right under the air fence, so the air fence does its job. Restart now, no Sloane Frost, and that is going to hurt his preparations for the National Championship in 2 weeks' time. You're on board here with Dennis Charlotte as he works his way down the DM Builders Straight into turn number 1, the still shot corner. Can he get up the inside, or the outside, I should say, of Nick Cole? Look for the Kawasaki to flash down as they turn right here onto Taupo Key. But no, it's the Suzuki of Scott Moyer that fills second place. Charlotte leads it though. This is for redemption. Remember, he crashed out in race number 1. That took him out of the series points lead for the Suzuki Series, but now it's all about pride. And Scott Moyer's pulled the move of the meeting through the Suzuki crossing, and he goes into the front. Down into Robert Holden. They're 2 abreast as they head into the Robert Holden turn. The memorial corner here for the man that's had more wins than anyone else at the Cemetery Circuit, the late, great Robert Holden. Into Hooker's Transport curve now, heading for the Pirelli Overbridge, and it's the 87 of Scott Moyer. Now he's got to be content with second, because going around the outside of him as they work through the left-hander and down the front straight is Nick Cole. He has owned Wanganui here this weekend. Number 5, Nick Cole. He was cruelly denied last year by the rain. He wants to win the Robert Holden Memorial. That's the feature event here. He won all of the Superbike races last year and then was cruelly denied the Holden because of the weather. Is it going to be that way again? He won race number 1. He's in front in race number 2. Then it's Moyer. You're on board here with Ray Clee from Kumu on the Suzuki 1000. Ray riding both classes today, but really putting on a good performance here. This is the battle for 3rd and 4th unfolding on your screens as they head down into the Robert Holden turn. Here's the man that's again putting on a sterling performance. This is Hayden Fitzgerald, riding 3 classes today. Through the Hookers Transport turn they go once more, out onto the Pirelli Bridge and down the DML Builders front straight. On board here with Ray Clee. Used to build the engines for Andrew Stroud, trying to get up the inside of Hayden Fitzgerald. Can't quite get the pass done as they go down to Wanganui.com straight and out onto Taupo Key once again. There is 87, Scott Moyer. There is Hayden Fitzgerald. Now it is Dennis Charlotte. Then it's Ray Clee, and right in behind him, another one of the veterans back into his very best form, and that is Wakatani's Tony Rees. There he is, bike number 11, a past king of the streets here at Wanganui. So these guys probably reminiscing about the old days, arguing about the top 5 at the moment. Charlotte has seen his championship hopes in the Suzuki Series slip away after he crashed out in round number 1. Ray Clee just gets better lap after lap after lap, and should there be any problems, number 11, Tony Rees, is ready to pick up the dregs. Into turn 1 they go once again. 2 Suzukis leading a Honda. This is a battle for the top 5. Out in the front, still Nick Cole from Scott Moyer. So Ray Clee starting to just edge away here, the veteran from Kumu, past New Zealand Grand Prix winner, past New Zealand TT winner. Looking to race again in the New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championships that start in just a fortnight's time in Christchurch with the New Zealand Grand Prix. You're on board here with Clee. And just look at this huge crowd lining every vantage point here at Wanganui. Heading down past the old dog pound and up over the Pirelli Bridge, they'll come now to complete yet another lap. This is the race leader, already starting to get amongst the lap traffic. Bike number 69 does a sensible thing and just holds his line. That's Mike King from New Plymouth as Nick Cole comes through. He has been dominant here, has the number 5. Nick Cole out of Hamilton. Well, he probably thought after the Manfield round that maybe his Suzuki Series hopes had gone. But racing is a fickle thing. When Dennis Charlotte crashed out in race number 1, it opened the door to this man. Been racing overseas in the New Zealand off-season on classic motorcycles, but now back on his beloved Red Devil Racing Kawasaki ZX-10, 1000 cc's of pure horsepower. Back with the racing setup, the racing engine in the race bike. Number 5, Nick Cole, leads it. A dominant performance here and a victory wheelie as well. In second place it will be Scott Moyer from Taupo on yet another Suzuki, and in third place it will be Hayden Fitzgerald. So a good ride coming from the young man from Taranaki. In behind him it'll be Ray Clee, and then it would be the veteran Tony Rees. Rest of the field funneled through. Still to come for the Superbikes, the Robert Holden Memorial. That's the feature event, and it means that Nick Cole, the winner of this race, will definitely start as the favourite. Second place man Scott Moyer. In third it was Hayden Fitzgerald. Fourth was Kumu's Ray Clee, and in fifth Wakatani's Tony Rees.
We managed to finish every race even if we haven't quite had the right bike, so just shows you've got to be consistent, got to finish, and yeah, to win it today, it's awesome. So yeah, next race, Robert Holden, got to win that one now.
Round 1 of the 2014 New Zealand Jet Sprinting Championships was held at the Shelterview Aqua Track in Wanganui. It was a chance for competitors and spectators alike to revisit all the drama that had happened in the final round in the darkness. This time it was in the light, although cloudy conditions made it a little bit iffy early on. Looking to go better than his third place last year, Paul Gaston.
It's Group A, our class is so close, you know, it doesn't take much in the way the point system is. Like I said, if you have a bad one, you're not going to make up that ground, so you've just got to be there.
What's your prediction today? Obviously Sam's gone pretty quick already out there.
Yeah.
Got to be the one to beat again?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Sam was he was consistent, and he was consistently fast all last year, you know, and it just shows that one bad round that Sam had, you know, lost it for him, and he had a points lead that none of us thought anyone could get near. Yeah, we'll see what happens, Richard. I mean, he's going to be back on it again. I think it'll be the usual guys. There's a couple of new boats here that will be worth watching, and you never know what they're going to do. Surprise package. They could just be the wild card and come and upset everybody, you know. So it's a good championship this year.
Someone with a new boat was Tristan Hines from the Bay of Plenty. His debut didn't go as well as could be expected. This in the qualifying rounds early in the morning. Everyone was saying how good the boat looked, and then unfortunately in qualifying round number 4 it all went wrong. What happened?
Oh, we just turned in a little bit early on the hairpin, you know. It's just the way it was. I knew as soon as I turned in I was too narrow, and there was nothing but bank after that, and there was nothing I could do about it. We're just passengers after that, and so be it, really.
So if we have a look at the top 8, you'll see that Sam Newdick has already set the timing charts alive with a 48.82, faster than the defending champion Richard Murray and Paul Gaston in third place. Bevan Muir, the quickest of the double-driven boats, and it's a double-driven boat we'll see first up. This is Baden Gray and Tanya Iremonger. The boat is Team Tools Racing. Picked up a new sponsor, well, a little bit more prominent on the boat this year in Team Hydrolink. So hard for this combination, because it is double driven with Bevan and Kathy Muir. Baden Gray is driver, Tanya Iremonger the navigator. The boat is a proven package. though they have done a little bit of work on it in the off-season. Well, that is not what he was expecting. That's a mechanical issue by the look of it. The boat comes to a grinding halt on the course proper. This multi-island circuit here at Wanganui, Shelterview Aquatrack. This will be really worrying for the Teng Tools team because remember, Bevan and Kathy Muir have to climb into this boat as well. It's like any multi-round championship. You can't necessarily win it in the first round, but because it's so close, especially in PSP Group A, you can very easily lose it. This is absolutely not what Baden Gray wanted. You see the time blowing out to well over the minute.
It's all about collecting points, being consistent, and you know, it's good to go out there and win it, but you can't go out there and blow it and not have the points under your belt.
This is Harry Whelans and Jason Conroy. The boat is MK King Motorsport, powered by a 400 cubic inch Chevrolet, running a Macraft hull through a Scott jet unit. Harry's second full season in the boat, sponsored by the Total Body Shop Supplies and Conroy Associates. It's amazing the difference a season makes to some of the drivers and the combinations and navigators as well. Jason has got used to Harry's driving style and Harry has got used to Jason's navigational style. Harry is a second generation driver. You'll see his dad out in Suzuki Superboat a little bit later on, but this is PSP Group A. And this is the top 8. From here we'll cut them down to 5 and then there'll be just 3. Best time so far for Harry was a 53.29. That was in qualification round number 4. We've had one elimination since then. Looking to have 2 more. Have a look as the time starts to climb on Harry Whelans. Remember, Sam Udick fastest with a 48. That's not going to be anywhere near it, but it's still going to be good enough. 55.46 as he comes into the spin-out pool. Andrew Guthrie comes out now. New navigator for Andrew this season in Jess Sitt. The Aucklander, she's a marketing manager at PSP, the Group A sponsor. Andrew's been around the scene for a long, long time, both as a driver and also as an administrator. The boat is Agricom Racing. It's a Macraft Sprint Tech combination. Runs a 400 cubic inch Chevy. Andrew's another one that's been in the 52s. He did a 52.48 in the top 12. This multi-island course has taken a little bit of time for some of the combinations to learn, and of course the visibility not that good when the overcast comes down and the drizzle comes down as well. So just making it a little bit harder for Andrew Guthrie, one of the veterans here at Shelterview, the Aquatrack. Scene of round 1. From here we will go to the big one this season, and that is the ASB Stadium in Bay Park. Inside the stadium they'll carve out a jet sprint track. Andrew Guthrie will be there. He stops the clock with a 52.72. Duncan Wilson next to go in his boat. Duncan, of course, making the step down from Suzuki Superboats back to Group A, where it all started for Duncan. Jamie Lee Lupton sits alongside him in the navigational seat. Duncan's been in the 51s. He did that in qualification round number 4. Then dropped it down to a 50.95. So he is there or thereabouts in the top 12. This is the 8. Takes a wide line through that right-hander. There's a couple of corners here at Shelterview that are the money corners, the hairpin being one. You've got to get it absolutely dead right. And like so many courses we go to now, the boats jump across their own wake, and that unsettles them, breaks the suction of the jet unit, and then for a millisecond they've got no power and no steering. So just another problem that these combinations have got to contend with. 50.95 in the top 12. Can he get another sub 50 here? He does so. 50.54 for Duncan Wilson. Welcome back to Shelterview Aquatrack. This is round 1 of the New Zealand Jet Sprinting Championships for PSP Group A. You're on board here with a man that finished 3rd in last season's title chase. This is Paul Gaston. You can see the arm movements there from Louise Blythe. Paul, out of the Gold Coast in Australia, commutes regularly over to New Zealand to compete in all the 6 rounds of the PSP Group A Championship. And Louise out of Auckland these days. Both of them no stranger to speed, both coming from a 2-wheel, or in Louise's case, a 3-wheel background. She was a swinger on a sidecar for a couple of seasons. And Paul, a bit of a master on 2 wheels, and you'd have to say a bit of a master in this boat as well. The boat is a Hurricane, sponsored by Glass Pro. This is the championship winning boat from a couple of seasons ago now that was driven so well by Reg and Julie Smith. In fact, Reg is in the pit of Paul Gaston, so he will be getting a fair bit of advice, I would think. And Gaston has been fast. Straight off the trailer, he was into the low 50s, but he has gone sub 50 here at Shelter View, and that's another sub 50 run for Paul Gaston, so he'll be very happy with that. That was a 49.35. This man is the man to beat. He was the man to beat last season, but cruelly denied of the championship when a navigational error put him out early in the eliminations at the final round in the darkness right here at Shelter View Aqua Track. Hopefully he's put that all behind him, although he did tell me it took him a while to get over the disappointment. Hasn't taken him a while to get into the top speeds here, though, at Wanganui, because he has been in the 48s. He did a 48.82 in the top 12. That was his fastest run. He backed that up with a 48.8 in qualification round number 4, so he's been going faster and faster and faster. Sam Newdick out of Hamilton, Glenn Mason, the vastly experienced Glenn Mason out of Gisborne, took Rex Bryant to 4 national championships in PSP Group A, and now trying to do the same with the drain layer from Hamilton. Rugby's loss was Jet Sprinting's gain, and once again, that is a blisteringly fast run. 48.34 for Sam Newdick.
Yeah, we're happy with where we're at the moment. It's pretty much exact same time as the last run, but you know, it's smooth and it's well manageable out there, so we'll probably just have to stand on it next time and just really drive it home, I suppose.
So this is the current PSP Group A champion. This is Richard Murray, and reunited again with his long-time navigator, Kesty Manning. Kesty injured in a fairly heavy crash in Hawke's Bay last year, and Richard's brother-in-law stood in. It was a very good replacement, but Manning back in the navigator's seat now. These guys were third 2 seasons ago. They climbed to the top step of the podium last year, won it through consistency. I think they won 1 round overall, but they are always, always fast. The boat is Mean Machine, and unlike the other PSP Group A boat, it is a Ford small block. They've been in the 48s, and should I say the 49s, that was in the top 12. They'll need to go a second quicker, I think, if they're going to turn back Sam Newdick. 49.78 in the 12. What can we see here from the man that owns the Shelter View Aqua Track? But there's no such thing as local knowledge in jet sprinting. It all comes down to the boat, the setup, and a whole lot of talent. 49.3, so he goes faster, but he doesn't match the pace of Newdick. Bevan Muir and Kathy Muir next to go. You're riding here, virtually sitting in Kathy's lap. The boat is 10 Tools Racing. The boat has been a past champion and been on the podium with both drivers, with Baden Gray and also with Bevan and Kathy Muir. And we saw that DNF problem for Baden Gray, so obviously the teams helped that. Oh, that's not going to help them at all though, and over they go. Well, that's not the start to the season that Bevan and Kathy Muir was looking for. They just got it wrong. They kissed the side of the island, and once the boat gets a bit of elevation, you're on your own. She climbs up on the tyre walls there. It starts to go wrong. Kisses the apex of the turn, up onto the grass, and over we go. Buries the nose before it lands right side up again. Bevan and Kathy Muir, not the start they were looking for. And that means they will be eliminated early. If we have a look now at the top 8, remember from 8 we cut them to 5, no doubt about the quickest. That is Sam Newdick with that 48.34. Richard Murray, the number 1 in 2nd, and Paul Gaston in 3rd. Good performance too from Duncan Wilson. He'll make the 5. So too Andrew Guthrie, and he will be the first to go.
Andrew Guthrie.
Agricom is the boat. Just Sit, his new navigator this season. For many, many years he's used Janine Ingram. So a change is as good as a rest, as they say. So the Aucklander sits alongside the man from Wanganui. What is it about Wanganui that makes it the powerhouse of New Zealand jet sprinting? Andrew was born in Levin, but he's been in Wanganui for quite some time. This boat driven by Travis Pastrana a couple of years ago from the Nitro Circus TV show. Andrew, as we said, fastest, or should I say slowest of the 5 to go, so that's why he goes first. They go from slowest to quickest. Quickest being a fairly relative term, 52.72 to get into the 8. This is the 5 though. Will a high 51 be good enough? Andrew Guthrie into the spin-out pool. Round 1, you don't want to go berserk and come out of the water. You just need to keep keep chipping away, keep finishing.
Yeah, well, look who's all fallen off along the way. You know, it's sort of some pretty good boats have gone. So yeah, to be there at the end's pretty good. So.
And the way we've been going today, we don't know if it's going to stand up or not. I mean, there could be some major incidents yet.
Yeah, it's pretty disconcerting sitting here and everyone's crashing away behind you while you're waiting to go in. But so yeah.
Well, Andrew hit it on the head. There have been a lot of incidents today, a lot of DNFs, a lot of crashes, and it's all to do with the conditions more than anything else, and possibly a little bit of ring rust. This is the first round of 6 for the New Zealand Championships. From here, as I mentioned, we go to the ASB Stadium in Bay Park for stadium jet sprinting, a world's first. Then we head to Auckland to Mary Mary. And then we travel down the line and finally finish after another trip here under lights at Wanganui down in Wanaka. That's a long way ahead of ourselves and a long way ahead of Duncan Wilson at the moment. Is a time to match his top 8 clocking of 50.54. He's got the pedigree though. Comes back from Suzuki Superboat into the Group A boat. Sponsored by PSP again this season. They did such a fantastic job. Last year did Duncan and Jamie Lee Lupton. And the thing with jet sprinting is you can use the same hull, you just change the power plant and the jet unit. So you don't have to necessarily buy a new boat. Down into the finish line, 50.39, so an improvement for Duncan Wilson. Mate, you've been in the 50s since the elimination started. That was a 50.39.
Oh, okay, yeah, we've got a pretty tapped day, we ain't got much more left. But yeah, we're just chipping away and see how we go, really.
You never know, all the incidents we've had today, you still could make the 3.
Yeah, no, we're happy with our day. We haven't done much in the boat, so happy the way it's gone so far, so we'll see how we go.
This is the man that finished 3rd in PSP Group A at the end of last season. One that didn't really have drama under the lights of Wanganui in round number 6 last year. But we start a new season and a clean slate for all. I'm pretty sure the man they call Gas would be pretty happy to be on the podium at the end of this one. It has been a bit of a race of attrition for a lot of the PSP Group A guys. In fact, for all the 3 classes we cover, there's been a lot more coming out of the water than staying in. Gaston's been able to stay in so far. Best time was a 49.5. That was in the 8. So he's gone faster and faster as the afternoon has wound on. Here we are into the 5 now, and he needs to beat that 49.5 if he's going to stay there. And already we'll be starting to take a few off the list now, because it becomes a straight out elimination. From 5 we'll cut them to 3. So the 51.88 of Andrew Guthrie looking pretty doubtful as you ride on board into the spin out pool here with Paul Gaston and Louise Blythe, and it's another 49.35 for Gaston and Blythe. That should keep them up. But it looks like we'll say goodbye to Andrew Guthrie and Jess Sitt as the defending champion comes out. This is Richard Murray and Kirsty Manning. 1 NZ on the boat. I asked him before the racing, I said, with the number 1 on the side of the boat, do you think that makes you a target? And he said, possibly. He said, but you've got to put that out of your mind and you've just got to do as well as you can. And that's Richard Murray to a T. 49.3 in the top 8. He'll need to be sub 49, I would think. Maybe if he wants to go further. You're on board with him here. Listen to that SVO Ford small block whirring away in the background. Boat is a white pointer hull. Stinger boat built in Gisborne by Rex Bryant. This looks like a very clean run for Richard and Kirsty. Oh, and they get very, very close to the tyre wall there, but they keep it off the island. That's what you've got to do. Heading down towards the finish line now. Are they going to go faster than the 49.3? They don't. 49.7. So they drop a bit of time.
Surrounding us is unspoiled native forest, and it's just immaculate. Welcome to Whakaharu.
This is the Wanganui journey. It's a 3-day river journey down 146 kilometres of beautiful New Zealand river.
We've got a big Canadian canoe here, and we're going to cruise down this river over the next 2 or 3 days and see what it's all about.
Oh, that river trip is just fantastic.
Well, it means everything, eh? It's the life force of the whole place, eh? It comes from the mountain and straight to the sea.
I haven't had an experience like that before. People just got to do it.
People who want to see our beautiful environment, that's our home. Look around. What a place to be.
So here we are at Mangaparua Landing.
It's a beautiful saying around here. It's ko te awa ko, and that is, I am the river and the river is me, and after spending a few hours on it, you get that feeling.
It's all here, it's all around you right here. Wanganui River, you will feel it when you're on the river for a few days. Yeah, there's some history here. Yeah.
So this really is a land of contrast. We've been down in the river gully for the last 4 hours, and then we've come up on this ridge line and we're just basking in light. So back in the day, the government gave a whole bunch of this land to returned servicemen after the First World War. A couple of years later it became unviable to actually farm this land.
The roads on either side of it deteriorated and it became the bridge to nowhere.
A few issues with the steering at this point, but clearing them out.
We're about 20k down our first day's paddling.
This beats a walk any day.
It's pretty much what I expected. Steep cliff faces with amazing native bush.
Pretty deep place in here. No sign of anyone else. Just the birds. A lot of peace. That was pretty much day one on the river. Coming into winter, it still feels pretty warm. So we're about to head back out on the river. A lot of mist out there, or fog, looking beautiful.
It's freezing cold, surrounded by fog and mist and all this native tree. Can't wait to get back on that river.
It's going to be a beauty. Hopefully we don't get too wet. Ko aroha te papatunuku, te rā, te pi waka waka, te wai, te awa. I can't speak everything in Māori, but I have a few words. I have a love of the land, as do all of the people here today. And we're deeply proud to be welcomed onto this marae and to be part of this pōwhiri. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
The Wanganui River journey has definitely been one of the most exciting of the 9 great walks so far.
147 kilometres travelling downstream. The river's doing most of the work, so you can make it as hard or as easy as you want.
We're literally soaking after capsizing the last set of rapids.
We're in the midwest of the North Island and we're about to head up to Tongariro, and it's the 9th great walk. See you soon. Woo!
First started back on this rig back in March and done the last 2 rounds of the Nationals and won all the races, 5 out of 5 there, and obviously that's how we got the number 3 plate. And the Tri-Series we were going very well, blew a clutch at Manfield unfortunately, and I think we put us back to 7th, so hey, that's racing though, eh?
One more race to go today, you think you can make it 2 for 2?
Hey, I've never won here on a whole day. I've won a couple of races, I've never won the day, that's my aim. 60th anniversary for sidecars here.
Well, Aaron Lovell has got race 1 in the pocket. This is race number 2 for the F1 sidecars, brought to you by the Quality Inn. Look for number 3, and that is Aaron Lovell and Denny Simonson. You're on board here with Warwick Demmicks. Further back through the field, a pretty crowded turn number 1 as they work their way down the Wanganui.com short shoot and out onto Taupo Key once again. Number 12, this is Gary and Peter Macefield from Rangiora. They've travelled a long way to be here at Wanganui for Boxing Day, so they've had a Christmas on the road. 29, it is out in the front, and this is the points leaders in the Suzuki Series, Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr. Now relocated to Auckland, right in behind him, their nemesis, Aaron Lovell and Denny Simonson. Simonson last seen at Wanganui swinging for Steve Braun. He's since retired from sidecar racing. At Aaron Lovell back. You heard him say in the interview, 60 years of sidecar racing here at Wanganui at the cemetery circuit. And the cream, they say, rises to the top. Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr doing the job out in the front, bike number 29. They are the Suzuki Series points leaders going into this, the third and final round. Right in behind them, it is Lovell and Simonson. The Goff TWL, Elf Oils sponsored LCR. Sidecars have really ramped up in the last couple of years. A lot of the modern Grand Prix rigs coming into being here in New Zealand. You're on board here with Warwick Demmicks and Matt Gibbs. Warwick last seen swinging with Dave Annan out of the South Island, out of Christchurch. Just how close they get to the curbs as they go down the Wanganui.com straight. Meantime, at the front of the field, things hotting up just a little bit. Look at Lovell, looking left, looking right, trying to get around Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr. Stu Dorr has a sneaky look behind just to see where they are. Now, they're not allowed to block. It's a little bit like Formula One. You can move maybe once, maybe twice. But after that, the officials have a good long look at it. Here comes the big move down the inside from Lovell. Adam Unsworth to wake up to it, though, just shuts the door as they head up over the Pirelli Bridge once again. These two have cleared away. Sidecars brought to you by the Quality Inn. And quality here on the streets of Wanganui. Down into the Wanganui.com straight. Lovell has to have a rejig of the attack plan because it's Unsworth and Dorr got the advantage as they head out onto Taupo Key once more. And it becomes a straight out drag race. Into the Suzuki crossing they go. Unsworth and Dorr so many times the victors here at Wanganui, but they've had to play second fiddle to the man in second at the moment. That is the rig of Aaron Lovell and Denny Simonson. Lovell from Hamilton. Down the inside, has he got track position? Oh, they get very close. I'm not too sure if they touched, but it was so close that time. We go back further down through the field, down the DML Builders Straight. This is Warwick Demmicks, bike number 49, the LCR, the Source TV Success rig. Just taking a different line as they work their way through the still shop turn. Just trying to pick up a couple of spots. Can't do it at the moment. Further down through the field there, bike number 47. This is Barry Fain and Ida Grimmenbauer from Auckland, the Mobile Built Suzuki. Going down the outside of them is number 16, and this is Bert Walland and Nev Mickelson. Meantime, we're back with the leaders and they're into the lap traffic. Number 98 is going to play a part in this, whether he wants to or not. And that's Rob Pay and Jason Anderson from Tauranga. Meantime, it is still Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr out in the front on the Windle, and right in behind them on the LCR Suzuki, that is Aaron Lovell and Denny Simonson. Lovell and Simonson get a little bit closer now. Saw Stu Dorr have a cheeky look out just to see where second was, and they're as close as you like as they go through the Hookers Transport turn down past the Dog Pound here. Once again, the lap traffic just holding their line, just getting out of the way of the faster boys as they're coming up and over the top of the Pirelli Bridge and down onto the DML Builders Straight once again. If anything, Unsworth and Dorr has just pulled out a little bit of an advantage. Look at the gymnastic qualities of Denny Simonson and also Stewie Dorr doing the swinging on these big new long bikes as they're called. Just as you see in World Grand Prix racing, we've got the best of the sidecars here in New Zealand and the best combination out in the front at the moment. That is Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr, now relocated to Auckland. Hamilton's Aaron Lovell in second place. Further down through the field, the veteran, Chris and Richie Lawrence on the 11, the Yamaha machine. In behind them, rig number 45, Daryl and Scott Dowman, the Wanganui favourites. So they'll be getting a big cheer. So it gets pretty busy further down through the field, but all the action is still up in the front. So the Lawrence boys towing this bunch around, but there are the leaders in the back of the shot. So lap traffic is going to play a part in this one for sure. Aaron Lovell on the inside. Adam Unsworth and Scott Dorr on the outside, and there's been a change, I'm pretty sure. Lovell has got in the front, we'll confirm it. You're on board here with the 49 rig. They had the best seat in the house, that was Warwick Demmicks and Matt Gibbs. But I think we've got a change at the front of the field. I think it's the Hamiltonian in the lead now as they work their way under Taupo Key. We will see there the fast disappearing dots at the front of the shot. No, it is still the 29. Unsworth and Dorr hold on to it. Through the Suzuki crossing they go. Number 12, Gary and Peter Macefield are going to be the next lap runners that they see, and they're going very, very slowly, but here come guys that are doing anything but going slowly. Lovell and Simonson changing lines as they go through the Robert Holden Memorial. Can't get close enough to find a chink in the armour, though, of Adam Dorr and Stu Dorr. Oh, and this contact as they work through into the Hockers Transport turn. Well, they'll be talking about that in the pits long and hard into the night, I'm sure, and a new race leader in the form of Aaron Lovell and Simonson. What you saw from the body language of Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr, they weren't real happy with that. Down to the checkered flag, and as Lovell gets there. Wow, sidecar racing at its very best at Wanganui. But as they say in horse racing, hold all tickets, because I'm sure there will be talk long into the night about the pass. There was definitely contact through the Hookers Transport turn, but the officials have said that it was all fair and above board, and they've given the win to Aaron Lovell and Denny Simonson. Second place, Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr. They retain the Suzuki Series Championship, and in third, it was Bert Walland and Nev Mickelson. How would you rate your day?
Oh, actually, it's starting to feel good now. This morning it was just a bit off the pace, and took a while to get going, but no, I'm enjoying it now.
Robert Holden still to come?
Yeah, we'll have a go on that, but we'll just see. If we get a good start, I think we can be up there, but yeah, we'll see how we go.
Well, this is the grand finale, if you like, of the Suzuki Series. This is the Robert Holden Memorial Feature Race. 10 laps, and for the leader, each lap he leads is $100 in cold hard cash. The man to beat has got to be number 5, and that is Nick Cole. They're on board here with Dennis Charlotte as they head down into the still shop turn number 1. And it's Cole that's got away. And I think it's Scott Moore that's moved up into second place, and Tony Rees has got a fantastic start as well. The man that's ridden just about everything around the streets of Wanganui, from Suzukis to Yamahas to Hondas, now on the Honda Insurance CBR 1000R. David Hall's got a good start too. He's just up ahead of Hayden Fitzgerald. There's Phil Lovett from Australia. His daughter won't be too far away. That's Sophie. There is Guy Martin, and Guy Martin has had pretty much a baptism of fire here at Wanganui, and it's to be expected. He's used to racing much longer circuits than this. I mean, the Isle of Man is something like 32 miles around, not just 1 mile, but he has performed admirably here on the streets of Wanganui. He is very, very popular. The people are queuing for his autograph, and they wait for 2 hours just to get a glimpse of the man with the sideburns. There he is, Guy Martin, the star of the Isle of Man. Just in behind him, one of the first of the 600cc machines, and I've got a feeling that that's Daniel Metham. Meantime, out in the front already, in fact, it's the second of the 600 machines, because there is number 55, and that is Jaden Carrick, and he's on the GJ Gardner's 600 Suzuki, sitting in second place. Tony Rees in third, then it's Hayden Fitzgerald. Number 6, can't speak highly enough of Hayden Fitzgerald. He won the classic races on the match list. He's won all of the super light races on the SV 650 Suzuki, and here he is in the top 4 of the Robert Holden Memorial, and he's performed with distinction on superbikes as well. And he's got plenty on his mind. His dad, Terry, battling a little bit of ill health at the moment, but he is here and watching, which is great to see. Here is Rees putting the move on Jaden Carrick. And look at the way the back of the bike steps out under braking for Jaden Carrick. Well, he comes from a supermoto background, so he's certainly used to getting sideways. Tony Rees, though, makes the pass as they go through the Mars Pet Care turn and out onto the Taupo Key once again. You'd expect them to pull away. The 1000cc horsepower advantage showing through the Suzuki crossing they go. Right in behind them it is Hayden Fitzgerald, but a great performance from Jaden Carrick. He couldn't take the 600 title off Toby Summers, but he might be able to steal some glory here in the Robert Holden Memorial. Remember, $100 per lap for every lap led. At the moment, Nick Cole would have pocketed $200 cold hard cash. You're back on board here with Dennis Charlotte, just heading through the Hookers Transport turn and into the Wanganui drainage curves, heading for the Pirelli Bridge they go. This is a battle for the minors. Dennis Charlotte, I'm sure, will already be starting to think about the upcoming National Championships in just 2 weeks' time in his hometown of Christchurch. Down the DML Builders Straight into turn 1, the still shop turn. Down the Wanganui.com straight they come. It is the 11, Tony Rees on the Honda Insurance CBR 1000 Honda New Zealand sponsored machine. Then it's Hayden Fitzgerald on the Suzuki. Just got a glimpse of the race leader. So this is a battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Carrick holding tough on the 600. Best of the 600s. To get into the Robert Holden Memorial race, you have to set some pretty fast lap times, and that's exactly what Jaden Carrick has done, and that's why he's performing up towards the front of this field. The local lad from Wanganui will be cheered on by the thousands of people here. Everyone's got their favourite, and there'll be plenty cheering for number 5, Nick Cole, as he extends his lead here. Is he going to make it the perfect day at Wanganui? There he goes, disappearing out of our shot as we concentrate on the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So having a look there for Adam Chambers, he'd be the 2nd of the 600s. Right in behind him, it is Guy Martin. Also in there, Phil Lovett from Australia. Think Desert Racer Extraordinaire, Enduro star, ISDU Australian star, and now at the ripe old age of 50 plus, onto a superbike, a Kawasaki ZX10. He thanks New Zealand Kawasaki for the help he's had. Ray Clean behind them. Then I think we got a glimpse of Toby Summers coming through as well. No, it's Ashley Payne, the local lad from Wanganui. So another one on the 600. Guy Martin having his best performance here in the Robert Holden Memorial. In fact, he'll probably get better as the laps wind down. He's not used to these short sprint races. Have a look at the helmet of Guy Martin. It's a tribute to the late, great John Britton. You talk to Guy Martin about John Britton, expect to spend about 20 minutes with him. This is the front runner. This is Nick Cole, all alone as he heads into turn number 1. This is the still shot corner, down the Wanganui.com short chute, and out through the Mars Pet Care turn onto the Fuchs Oil front straight. This is Taupo Key. And if anything, Hayden Fitzgerald is starting to close him down. So we could see a battle in the closing stages of the Robert Holden Memorial. As I said to you before, Nick Cole was cruelly denied this race last year when the rains came down and we had to shorten the program. This time we've got through. Yes, there's been rain at Wanganui. Yes, there's been controversy, but there always is. But we get through to the Robert Holden Memorial. Robert Holden, the winningest rider here at Wanganui at the Cemetery Circuit, lost his life tragically at the Isle of Man. You're on board with the race leader over the Pirelli Bridge, down the DML Builders Straight. Big victory wheelie for Nick Cole. He completes the treble here at Wanganui. He won both of the superbike races. He's won the Robert Holden Memorial. In 2nd place will be Hayden Fitzgerald, and in 3rd place, what about the performance from Tony Rees from Wakatani? He crosses the line in 3rd, and then in 4th it'll be Jaden Carrick. Next one through would be Adam Chambers, and then it would be Guy Martin, followed by Ray Clee. But the man of the moment, the man of the day here at Boxing Day, bike number 5, the Red Devil Racing Kawasaki, Nick Cole wins the Robert Holden Memorial from a fast closing Hayden Fitzgerald, and Tony Rees, the veteran, on the podium again.
Mate, this is the one you wanted.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said before, it's a pretty legendary trophy, and a lot of past and present legends on there. A lot of people I've looked up to when I was growing up, you know. So get on top and get that trophy finally. You know, we got robbed last year a little bit, so that was awesome. You know, to get that Robert Holden and bring it home.
The AMP Mountains to Sea 2014, the event is from Tuaroa Ski Field all the way through to Ohakuni. Then you've got 83 k's of awesome mountain biking through the new cycleways that have been put together by John Keys' friends, and I must say, well done John, because it's stunning out there. Yeah. Finishing at Whakahoro on day 1.
This is our kind of a bit of a reunion race for us. We did this race back in the late 80s, early 90s as individuals mostly. So I had the stupid idea of doing it as a team to rekindle old, I don't know what, drinking habits.
Yeah, this is like I'd say it's like a bucket list race to do. That's just absolutely stunning.
The big thing for us is that we just have been around a long time doing races, and this is just a fantastic opportunity just to get together, have some fun, you know, see if the old body still works.
It's awesome that he started it up. Now, that's one of the bad things about doing it with your mates.
Day 2, we're kayaking 87 kilometres to Papariki. Beautiful scenery, and if you've never paddled before, this is probably the paddle to do.
Tough but fun.
He's not as perky as he was last night when
No.
he hadn't done anything, is he? Hey, not quite as chirpy as last night.
I've got 2 punkawallas to carry me up to the caravan, haven't you guys?
No.
No.
And you're cooking tonight, don't forget.
Yeah, I'm cooking tonight too. There you go. There's a lot of love in this team.
Today was a particularly gruelling day for them, and there'll be a lot of interest in these canoeing times. They've done 90 kilometres on the water. That's a huge distance in one day. This trip, normally people do it in 4 or 5 days with a Canadian canoe. They've just done it in one day.
How are they looking down there?
They're actually looking pretty good.
Are they?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Especially when they finish. Most of them got a smile on their face.
Yeah.
Most of them are staggering around a little bit.
Yeah.
With the pain.
Yeah.
They're ecstatic, I think, most of them.
One cramps here, this one on the side of my foot, and I don't even know what that is, but it's pretty intense. And the old hamstrings, the hamstrings just took a beating.
This is what we do for fun.
Well, I often think why they do it, and I remember going out with my dad tramping when I was a youngster, and I hated it, absolutely hated it. But as I got a bit older, I went into the outdoors, and I found pitching myself against the outdoors and just being in the outdoors was energising.
Day 3, on the 3rd day, we're cycling on the brand new road that's just been completed, so never been sealed before. We've got 74 k's of new seal all to Wanganui. It's going to be great.
Alright, ready for a big round of applause and a big woohoo here. Through the red line he goes. It doesn't look like he's even got a puff on.
Right.
Good to see a bit of camaraderie between the finishers here.
Good job, mate. Well
See if we can get between the puffs.
this boy's legs, man.
I want you to be, how are you feeling at the moment? Pretty tired. What was the hardest part of the last 3 days?
So when do we start again?